I'm on the rising wind. We're going out for a round of bed.
It's Sunday morning on CBS, and here again is Charles Osgood.
Even the muffling effect of years of litigation couldn't keep the voice of singer John Fogerty silent forever. In fact, this spring, he's finally being inducted into the Songwriters Hall of Fame. John Blackstone has more on this late-blooming John Fogerty revival.
He's about to turn 60. But after many years of near silence, one of rock and roll's greatest is rockin' again. Back on tour, John Fogerty is reclaiming his music and his past. Some 35 years ago, as the lead singer and creative force behind Creedence Clearwater Revival, he wrote hit after hit after hit.
Because I am a pretty happy guy now, I don't look at it at this point and go, grrr, lawsuit, lawsuit, lawsuit.
That's because behind these happy tunes is a sad story. For years, decades actually, embroiled in a legal battle over rights, Fogerty refused to sing his own songs. Actually, we have to backtrack a bit. In 1964, with two school friends and his older brother Tom, Fogerty signed with a small recording company, Fantasy Records, after trying names like the Gollywogs and Blue Velvet. A TV show on water pollution inspired Fogerty to rename the group Creedence Clearwater Revival.
I put a spell on you.
Fogerty's buzzsaw voice, he calls it the swamp critter,
Because you're mine.
gave Creedence a distinctive sound. The music's roots were Southern, though Fogerty grew up in suburban San Francisco.
I was probably pretty much a middle-class white boy. And then because of the music I loved, it just sort of grew into the way I wanted to express myself.
Oh, Susie Q.
Finally, Creedence had their first hit, Susie Q.
Baby, I love you, Susie Q.
But Fogerty worried they'd be a one-hit wonder. He calls it the sophomore jinx.
After, years of struggling, now you got the spotlight. Everybody's going, well, but if what you do is crap, then they go, right, I knew that. And then they move on. You never get the spotlight again, ever. And I took that real seriously. I didn't want to go back to the car wash.
Not to worry.
I can hear the bullfrog calling me.
In a frantic 3 years, Fogerty wrote 6 platinum albums,
Still hanging to the tree.
10 gold singles, and made Creedence a rock legend.
Shoot my dragon back, get back to your mother. Pick up a flat rock and skip it across the Free River.
I think I can actually even claim that Creedence, for the length of time of a cup of coffee, was maybe #1 in the world. Certainly a close #2 to the Beatles.
But success created strains. Creedence broke up, and Fogerty discovered the recording contract he'd signed as a teenager turned out to be very lucrative for the record company.
A lot of money was made, most of which went somewhere other than myself.
Fantasy Records claimed it owned all the songs Fogerty wrote for Creedence. You were sort of forced to turn your back on Creedence.
And all the music that I had created during that time, yeah.
Fogerty spent years in angry court battles with Fantasy. In the meantime, because his songs were musical shorthand that spelled out the 60s, Many movie makers put them in their soundtracks, like Bad Moon Rising and The Big Chill.
Listen to those guys.
Born on the Bayou in Born on the 4th of July. His anti-war anthem, Fortunate Son, turned up in Forrest Gump, and even in a commercial to sell jeans.
New 5-star denim from Wrangler.
All the time,
Wrangler.
licensed without his approval.
Comfortable jeans.
I'm saying that very delicately or nicely. You know, I was cheated, but somebody got a huge amount of money.
For years, he couldn't or wouldn't make any more music. Then finally, in 1985, he made a comeback with a home run. His joyous ode to baseball, Center Field, quickly became a staple in most ballparks. And a natural for the baseball-loving movie, Bull Durham.
Oh, put me in cold. I'm ready to play today.
But when management at Fantasy Records heard the Center Field album, they sued for copyright infringement, with the novel claim that Fogerty sounded too much like himself.
The fact that I would somehow survive and then flourish after 15 or 18 years or whatever drove him crazy.
Eventually, Fogerty won the right to sound like himself, but consumed by anger, frustration, and lawsuits, he bottomed out.
I turned around and I looked at the prison I'd been held in for 15 years. I got really pissed off until somewhere about 10 minutes after I met my wife.
Julie, 15 years younger, barely knew Fogerty's music when they met in an Indianapolis restaurant.
His career had basically stopped.
But then, one day, when she came home,
I remember walking into the house and hearing him playing and strumming that guitar. And I remember just standing in the foyer, just jumping up and down, so excited and thrilled that maybe we're going to get through this thing.
Yeah, grab a ball.
then the kids started coming, and Fogerty started shaking off the past. John and Julie have Shane, 13, Tyler, 12. The boys have only recently seen John on stage. There's Lindsay, 20, from Julie's first marriage. John has kids, too, from a previous marriage. And then there's Kelsey.
Hello, my angel.
3 years old. To call her a daddy's girl doesn't quite capture it.
Here we go. She's a princess. She's beautiful. These are wild. These are okay.
He wrote this song for Kelsey, I Will Walk With You.
I will walk with you every step of the way.
For his latest album, the first in 7 years.
Love you every day. I've heard it all before.
The title song, Deja Vu, is another anti-war offering.
All over again.
Same perspective, different war. This time it's Iraq he's protesting.
Day by day, we count the dead and dying.
Still liberal after all these years.
You know, I've held on to my liberal idealism, and I find that it makes people uncomfortable.
Last fall, he appeared with Bruce Springsteen on the Vote for Change tour.
For me, he was really the Hank Williams of my generation, I always thought. He wrote with the same kind of simplicity and directness, and that music is just going straight sort of into American folklore for me.
You see it right there?
These days, John Fogerty has finally reached the point where he's put up some of those gold and platinum records that have been gathering dust for so long. He's struck a balance between work and family. But it's the family, it seems, that's made it possible for him to go back to working on his music.
737 coming out of the sky.
You know, aside from having children and marrying the most beautiful woman in the world, you know, the feeling of playing and making people happy, I guess, is maybe the second best feeling, at least for me.
Got really pain.